Hello, everyone. I said hello, divas. Happy Saturday. We are here at Essence Fest. It's hot. Hi, Auntie. It is hot outside, ain't it? It is hot, y'all, but it is cool in here. And I'm so happy to be kicking off the BeautyCon stage where today you all will take in and hear from some people that we absolutely know and adore. And I am so honored that I actually get to kick off the first panel today, which is presented by my favorite fragrance brand ever, Brown Sugar Babe. Right now, I want to let you all know I smell like Marry Me. The shimmer oil is on. I know you see it. I know you see it. Now, I am so excited because coming up, we are having a panel called "The Scent of Becoming: What Living Fully Feels Like." I am so excited today to be joined by two women that I absolutely adore. Two women who have become voices for Black women near and far. Two people that I love following on every single social media platform. So without further ado, I am honored to be joined in conversation by the Brittany Patnett Cunningham and Dominique Morgan.
Just got my clothes from the cleaners. About to swing on the feeder. You know everything pink.
Hi. You know I'm mad that we only have 20 minutes because I feel like between y'all two, I could talk to you all for hours and hours. But thank you, ladies, for joining us. So I
Thank
want to
you.
kick it off with defining the life that you want, especially right now when I think all of us are just kind of hanging on by a thread and just
Yeah.
going day to day. So, what does living life on your own terms look like in times like these?
Imagine. I think it looks like this. I think it looks like intentionally choosing what we want. I think it looks like intentionally saying no and recognizing that that is a full sentence forever and always. I think it looks like recognizing that there is room for all of us to thrive and that we need each other to do so. And I saw this like a true millennial on Twitter, but I've held on to it for a long time. True self care is curating a life from which you do not have to constantly escape. So it is about a safe nervous system, a safe community, safe people, and making sure that as I am pouring out so much, as Black women always do, that it is being returned to me in the way I deserve.
Yeah, Dominique?
I think it's really divesting from what people told me the terms were supposed to be. And as many times as I'm able to divest, also sharing that I can divest for other people because I keep seeing folks say, well, I heard you say this, so I've realized that I can say this or move this way. And that mobilization in defining what life looks like for you. The 40s is cute, but you can do that at 15 if you want to.
That's right.
And that's really important right now.
For you all, though, keeping with Black women, what are Black women being called to release in this season?
You know, I think there are things that Black women are being called to release that is based in the way that the world abuses and only extracts from Black women. At the same time, many of those things are also the systems that impart harm on Black women specifically, like the conversation of, the 92% and the divestment. And it's like, yes, and what we're going to do about reproductive health? What are we going to do about safety for Black women? And what does that look like? I think also this idea of love, right? Whether you're watching Love Island and you're becoming disenchanted or you're on Hinge making things happen, I'm not going to push people into love, but I don't want, especially Black women, to be pushed into that divestment through media, through some of the conversations, because love is owed to us. It's a part of what we're owed, like being born, and Black women are the epicenter and the curators and the blueprint of love. So if you want it, you should get it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Love Island got me divesting from love. This season got me divesting from love.
No, I think that's such an important question. I was telling someone yesterday, they were asking me how my book is doing. And that's my least favorite question in the world because I've been in a book deal since 2018. We're almost at 10 years. And I've been writing and rewriting and letting perfect be the enemy of good and letting the fear of what other people will receive from it versus what I wanted to give hold me back. And I also realized that I say yes to so much other stuff that I'm like, oh, well, I don't have any time to write because that becomes my excuse, right? And so somebody asked me yesterday how it was going, and I said, you know what? I need to stop doing good work and I need to do the right work. And a lot of times we will pick things that are good, that are generous, that are community oriented, that look good on paper, but that are not aligned with my purpose. And so if I'm doing something good, but I'm not doing what's right for me, then I'm wasting my time. So I need to start giving myself my first fruits and then give the overflow to other people instead of the reverse, which is what Black women are socialized to do. I think the other thing is we have to release shame, right? I am a double PK, which means I grew up with a whole lot of what I call Baptist body shame. The lipstick is too loud, the dress is too short, it's too tight, even though you can't hide the curves, right? Like they're there. And so now I'm over here with my chest up and my legs out because I'm 41 and I ain't never felt like more fine shit in my entire life. You understand what I'm saying?
Hey.
So like let's fully live into this and release those systems that told us to be ashamed of the bodies that we were born in that were made so beautifully.
Yep. And I'm so happy that you all talked about that specifically because I think, like I said, with the state of our country, when this current administration first came in, you saw a lot of discourse of Black women saying, this isn't my problem anymore, I'm stepping away. But to your point, it's not even in our nature to not.
That's
We have
right.
been at the forefront of every movement. We have been all of those things. So what are ways, though, that we can continue to resist? We can continue to be a part of this movement against this regime without, to your point, sacrificing the best parts, the best and most valuable parts of ourselves.
I think we invest in community, right? When we think about the original Jim Crow era, which is what they're trying to return us to right now, let's be very clear. When Black representation is gone, when Black voting rights are gone, when Black economies are decimated, these are the things that they're trying to attempt to drive us back to. So let's go back to the blueprint. What did our elders and our ancestors do in that era?
Yep.
They created our own shadow community. We had our own economies. We had our own institutions. We built our own houses of worship. We self-funded our own literacy centers. We self-funded our own sororities and fraternities. And all of these places require continued investment from us, those institutions that got us over and through. And it means investing in one another, right? We know that they're not telling the truth on their media. So you should be subscribed to Black media, to the Black podcast, to the Black shows. I was with Joy Reid yesterday. We should be subscribed to her show.
We should subscribe to YouTube.
Yes, I
Yes,
was talking to
both of
her
you.
about my podcast, Undistracted, which I hope you all subscribe to. We should be investing in one another, supporting one another, and making sure that when all of this other stuff crumbles, because it is crumbling, that what we have built will last.
I always think of two things. First of all, as a Black trans woman who transitioned, I was 38. I'm 44 now. If you follow me on social media, something I discuss often are the realizations of the things that were never expected of me as someone who was socialized as a boy. Like, I wasn't expected to forgive quickly. I wasn't, like, all the things that I see that I experience in this body now, these expectations, right? I remember the first time someone looked at me and said, smile, you look upset, right? Those sort of things. And so I first think about how the world has been oppressing my sisters since their birth.
Yep.
And then my thought process comes from my activist work. Miriam Kaba introduced the grace quotient to me in 2020. The pandemic had started. We had about 25,000 people we were serving at Black and Pink, and I was like, I don't know how I do it.
Yep.
And she brought this to me, that you wake up every day, you think about how much of yourself you have to offer, and then you decide who gets what ahead of time. Because if you don't decide who gets what ahead of time, people will gradually come and take things from you as they engage with you. And the truth of the matter is, for Black folks, specifically Black women, is historically white people, depending on where you work. So you've given all of your niceties to your boss, to your colleagues, and you get home and you don't have the energy to say anything nice to your man.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
He might deserve to be cussed out, but maybe not as much as you did, right? You don't have the energy to enjoy your children. You don't have the energy to enjoy a bath. You're just bathing to make it to bed, not bathing to take the 20 minutes to rest. And so every day, I think about how much I have. Sometimes that's 20%, sometimes it's 100. And then I say, who gets it? Black women get it first,
Yep.
right? Black children. And as I go through my day, there's times I won't even engage with white people, not because white people aren't human beings, but because I'm not going to risk not having something for you if you call me and
Yep.
you say, hey,
Yep.
I need you to show up for me. And black women, I want to say, the indoctrination, the oppression, the belief that you are simply a vessel of giving, they don't make every human being do that. And they are trying to gaslight y'all into thinking that every person does that. And I'm telling you, they don't. I wasn't tired for real until I transitioned. And that is the plight of womanhood. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it's a truth that y'all are, they expect y'all to feel like it's a gift. And I'm telling you, it's an albatross.
Mm. Yes,
That's a word.
yes. Yes. Now I want to talk about joy because we talked about, divesting all those things. But why is pleasure a radical act?
The girls need to be busting nuts. Listen,
Say it again.
the girls need to be busting nuts. A lot of y'all are angry because y'all don't bust no nuts.
And that doesn't have to be from somebody else.
It doesn't have to be from somebody else, I promise you. And
Yep.
the fellas, a lot of y'all are angry because y'all won't bust nuts the way y'all want to. Huh? Yeah.
Release the shame.
Release the shame. And pleasure is important because if you don't define pleasure, someone else will.
Correct.
And so a lot of people are chasing a definition of pleasure they've been given from watching TV, TikTok, whatever, and it doesn't meet your need, and you don't realize you deserve to say, like, this feels good to me.
Yep.
And sometimes the most pleasure is taking a nap with someone you care about or a nap alone.
Yep.
So that's really important. That you can't have a liberation practice without understanding how pleasure comes through that.
And I think that the word practice is so important, right? Because we think we're just going to naturally come upon what feels pleasurable. No, you got to try stuff out. You got to figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and then be centered enough in your own agency to say, I do want this, I don't want that.
Yep.
And it takes practice to be able to articulate it, to be able to describe it, to be able to own it, to be able to evolve it. All of this stuff is about building muscle. And if we let those muscles atrophy, we won't have the muscle memory that we need when it's time to use it. So, like, let's get in the gym, right? Whatever the pleasure gym looks like for you, build those muscles so that it can become habitual.
And for you two women who are on the front lines of this, which, can we get a round of applause for that, for the way that they show up for us every single day? What role does beauty, self-care, and ritual play in you all coming back center after?
I know I told you I'm a double PK, but before my mother was an ordained minister, she was a first lady of a very large and historic church in St. Louis where I grew up. It's actually where Dred and Harriet Scott went to church. It was the second church built on that side of the Mississippi by formerly enslaved Africans. And I watched the ritual of Saturday morning going to the hairdresser, Saturday afternoon going to Dillard's,
Yes.
and going to the makeup counter and getting the only makeup for us in that pink packaging. Shout out to Fashion Fair, okay? There was no Fenty, there was no Fashion Fair.
Yep.
And watching the care with which the black woman on one side of the counter handed that pink packaging over to my mother to make sure it was just the right shade, just the right color. And then, laying out the clothes the night before, making sure your stockings don't have no runs in them. And if they do, put some nail polish on them, right? And then waking up in the morning and having that ritual of getting dressed together and watching my mother adorn herself because she deserved it, because she understood the divinity of her being. So it wasn't just about I'm representing my husband or I'm helping lead this church. It was about I want to see and give permission to other black women who are in these pews that they don't have to be ashamed to be adorned or adored. And so that ritual is something that continues to stick with me. I love beauty. I love fashion. I love taking the time to decide how I want to feel and therefore what I want to look like because I deserve to be adorned and adored.
Yes.
It's always kind of an interesting space of tension because there are folks who look at specifically black trans women in the social space and they feel like our presentation is a cosplay of womanhood, right? And at the same time, the way that you show up, specifically the way that I look every day, actualizes safety for me at varying degrees. So not only a base level of safety when the sex on my ID matches the way people want me to look, right? But also when we're looking at white supremacy and other systems, how much I'm into the way the look is supposed to come, it allows me to walk into different spaces. And so you're trying to tread the line of engaging in what you know is about safety while also recognizing that there are so many black women who what we see online feels unattainable to them. And so you feel counter to what black womanhood looks like. And I think what I try to do in the way that I show up is the things that feel comfortable for me. And also, I don't give them room to play on my time. If you, this is a way I love to show up. I also love a nasty moo and a bonnet. And I feel like a baddie in both. And that's the type of black mother I grew up with who dyed her hair I never knew my mother to go to a hair salon, right? I put on a little rouge on the holidays type things. That's that's what I witnessed and that's what I wanted to grow up and see. And I think even me being on the BeautyCon stage, they'll put the trans girls on the activist stages, but for me to be here is really a huge thing. And Brown Sugar Babe making that decision means the messages I've gotten from black trans girls on Instagram in the last 24 hours, watching these things and these experiences. We won't build sisterhood if we don't get to be together.
Amen.
And if people overstep, that's where you have the relationship to say, there's been some overstepping, this is how you reel it back. But people don't get to learn until we're in space together. And so that the beauty component allows me to flourish in my black womanhood, but also allows me to learn and grow with my sisters.
And can I just say, absolutely applaud for that. Can I just say, it is so important what you just said, especially in the way that Brown Sugar Babe is demonstrating for us what sisterhood looks like right now. I tell my fellow cisgender sisters all the time, we are not getting free by oppressing our trans sisters. That's not how it functions. And your freedom is deeply interconnected with mine. It is my business. You are my bond in magnitude, to quote our sister Gwendolyn Bond. And I am grateful. The first time I ever met Shannon Balenciaga, I was like, you helped me step into an ownership of my femininity, and that instead of be ashamed of it. And I'm having this conversation with a black trans woman. There's so much for us to give each other if we simply open up our hearts and minds to recognize that this is a sacred sisterhood.
Yes. Well, Brown Sugar Babe, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we're not done. We're not done. I just had to say a thank you to Brown Sugar Babe because, like you said, this is a proper representation of what Black sisterhood and Black community should look like. Now, for our final question, I do want to ask, because of course we are up here with Brown Sugar Babe, I want to talk about how fragrance becomes a part of feeling good, becomes a part of resistance, all of those things. In what ways have fragrance, and I'm not just talking about fragrance that we apply, it could be the scent of your grandmother's kitchen. It could be, in what ways do scents and fragrance play a role in the resistance, in activism, in us feeling like ourselves?
This may sound extra to people, but I base this on my values, but also both of my parents passed away before I was 27. And so fragrance at times is the only way I get to remember them. I have my mom's jars of her Avon cream. I have my dad's Stetson. I keep that. Fragrance is the evidence that you were there. And so what I love about that in my own practice, and like having the world cracked open to Brown Sugar Babe about 3 months ago, is the way that when we go in for the hug, people, there's that thing, right? We all
hold on. Stay here a second longer.
Yeah, you know, we all have that auntie, you know exactly how that auntie smelled, that grandmother. I think that is something that is so powerful. And the way Brown Sugar Babe infuses it in a way that feels accessible, because sometimes fragrance can feel very scary. The girls can be very bougie. They can. The way oils, us not being ashy, we know that. Huh? And if you got to start with Vaseline and you build to Brown Sugar Babe, it's accessible, and that's what I love, and I get to explore. It's beautiful.
Yes.
This is such a perfect closing question, because in the work that we do, we ask people not just to think about what we are trying to tear down, but what we are trying to build. Not just what our ancestors were running away from, but what they were running toward. And therefore, what does freedom look like? Radical imagination requires that we use every single sense we have to design the world we deserve. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? For me, it smells like Avon Skin So Soft, right? Because the memories of somebody taking care to protect me before I went outside is something that makes me feel safe and covered, right? And so it smells like Avon Skin So Soft, the world that I deserve, because I want all these children to be playing and running around outside catching lightning bugs, which are back, by the way, and do so safely, right? And be covered. That glisten that we have when we send our children out, right? That means somebody cares about you. Somebody loved you. The fact that you smell good, that means somebody cares about you. Somebody loved you. And so to me, the most radical thing we can do is love each other so deeply and so unrelentingly that we build the world we deserve. And when we focus on what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like, and what it smells like, we can get there together.
Now, ladies, as we close, quickly, one thing that you are leaving behind and one thing that you are carrying into the future.
I am leaving behind I'm leaving behind unnecessary sacrifice. And I am keeping my first fruits.
I am leaving behind expectations I used to have. Even though I had accomplished things, I put myself in limitations, and I'm taking forward, letting myself be afraid again. I think there's a level of success that you gain that will keep you less afraid than more afraid because you know what to do. But in that space of being afraid, I think that's where the magic happens. So I want to be scared again.
Dominique Morgan and Brittany Cunningham, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Brown Sugar Babe, for facilitating this powerful conversation. We love you guys. Make sure that you guys visit the Brown Sugar Babe booth, which is straight back there. You cannot miss it. And stay tuned because the BeautyCon stage is just getting started.
Thank you, Blake. Fantastic.
Don't want to feel you, don't want you on my mind. Don't want to feel you, don't want you on my mind. Don't want to